in a time on the mountain, they gave him 7 teachings to help us to bring down. He brought back to us, and he shared them with us, you know, and I'll say them quickly: to live in health, to remember the generations, to live in quiet, to be happy, to help each other, to walk with the powers, the Spirit, and to honor and respect all that is. Those are the 7 that he brought down. You know, to live in health, health of your mind, your body, your spirit. You know, take care of yourself, you know. This is the only one you get this time through. Feed it good. Let it sleep. You know, take care of it. Your spirit, you know, we take care of our spirit. We do in the ceremonies that we take part in, men's, women's. And our mind, you know, is that this right? It's ironic that when you pour water on the stones, the steam goes up and it comes down. The first thing that doctors is your mind, you know, our greatest enemy. See? So we take care of our mind, our body, our spirit, you know, to live in health. To remember the generations, that's, we remember the teachings that the old ones, our ancestors, had handed down to us in that tradition of oral history, stories, beliefs. And we use those to live our life now in a good way so that the children in the future benefit. They come into a world, if not as beautiful, maybe even more beautiful. Because, you know, a lot of us are more aware of the earth. You know, we're not supposed to manipulate the earth to satisfy us. We're supposed to live with the earth, you know, be part of it. You know, that's the natural way. It's a way of life, and we have to do that. And the third is to live in quiet. And, not quiet as far as how loud you sing. That's not the quiet that we're talking about. That quiet is the poise as a person, as a human being, you know. Because when the storms of life come at you, when you're poised and you're living in that quiet way, that storm doesn't tear you up, doesn't take you out of that balance, that harmony that life is meant to be, you know. So that's what the Spirit meant when the old man brought that to us, to live in quiet. You know, Coyote was up in his lodge on the side of the hill. I'm sorry, Iktomi was up in the lodge on the side of the hill, thirsty, went down to the little lake down there, and he leaned down to get a drink. He looks, whoa, who's that handsome fella in that water there? And he spent all day admiring that reflection in the water. All day. And then he realized, oh, the sun was going down, so he quick took a drink, went back to his lodge. Next day, he woke up real early, ran down there thinking that he was going to spend the day admiring that reflection in the water, and not realizing it was drizzling and cloudy and the wind was blowing just a little bit. So he got to that lake and he looks and the water is all stirred up and he's going, oh man, where is that? Where is that beautiful self in there? And he was all torn up, and he grumped and grumbled and stomped back up to his lodge, you know. And next morning comes down, and it had stopped raining, but it was still cloudy, and so the water was still kind of messed up, and he was all upset again. You know, he was still upset. So he stomps off all angry back up to his lodge and sat there all day, just all twisted, upset. Next day he says, well, I'm going to try it again, you know. Iktomi went down the hill, and the breeze was blowing just a little bit, and there were little ripples, but the sky was blue, and he looked, and it was all distorted, what he saw in there. It was like, you know, those funny carnival mirrors, you know, wee, like that, you know, and And he's looking at it going, oh man, you know, and so he started to get upset again. And he hears this laughter over there, and it's coyotes over there going, you're so foolish. Haven't you figured out what's happening? You know, he's going, I don't want to hear what you got to say, and he walked off. You know, and Iktomi was allowing everything around him to twist him, take him out of that poise, that quiet. See, that's a story about living in quiet. You know, so don't let that storm come around you and twist you all up and get you all upset. You know. Myself, I had a dream, and I talked to the old man about it. It was a beautiful day, and I saw these whirlwinds coming. I was walking on a path, and this whirlwind came at me, a big, massive, and roaring, and it scared the death out of me, or scared me to death, almost. And I was frozen, and it came around me, and I looked up and I could see blue sky, and it was roaring, and then it went. And then I watched it leave. And then I look, and here comes another one. The same thing happened again. You know. But it didn't even mess up my hair. You know. And so I went to the old man, and I said, you know, this is what happened, this is what I saw. And he says, oh, well, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Because at that time there was a lot of stuff in our Indian community. There's always stuff like this. Always, there's people, you know, I don't know, fear, jealousy, anger, all these different things are getting on different people, and there was that stuff swirling around. And he says, I said, well, what do you mean? He says, well, you didn't let that bother you. Those two whirlwinds represented all that stuff swirling out in that world. And, you know, it didn't even mess up your hair. And I'm going, oh, wow. You know, it was... So I hold on to that. I can go into that moment in a heartbeat. You know, I can go there and feel what I felt in that moment, you know, about being in that balanced moment. And the next was to live happy, to be happy. You know, for me, you know, if you haven't noticed, I use a lot of humor. You know, I love to laugh. You know, we're not all stoic, and you know, you get around Indians, and we love to laugh. You know, maybe it takes us a little bit to get to know you, to loosen up a little bit, but you know, we have a great sense of humor. And for me, my understanding of that is humor is a powerful medicine that can be administered anytime, in any place, you know. And even the scientific world has proven that humor helps people doctor themselves, you know, and get to heal and get better quicker. You know, so that's what that is, humor. So beware. I'm going to tell some more jokes here, or see if I can catch you off guard. The next is Okichiapo. It means to help each other out in that world, because we're all related. Even that one that cut you off in traffic and showed you their IQ, you know. And yeah, that's what my mom does. She doesn't use only one finger. She gives them all five, you know, like that. She's 84. She doesn't drive anymore, but she said, yeah, that's... I don't only give them one. I give them... to help each other. You know, we're all related. Mitaku yasi. You know, and you see someone on the street or wherever it is, you know, and if you can say something, or if the moment presents itself, take advantage of that, because, you know, that might help that person, then he helps someone else, or she, and then on it goes, you know, and you can change the world that way. You know, if everyone does something, you know, to help someone else just a little bit, you can make a difference.